Ah, shit. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is supreme. The Chaotic Culture Podcast is brought to you by W Energy, the official energy sponsor of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Use promo code Chaotic Culture 1 to get 10% off of your order. This podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts from music, finances, black business highlights, content creators, home ownership, HBCU, sports, black nerdom, anime, wrestling, and so on. If it encompasses black culture, we are going to cover it. Live from the 410, I am your host and the creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is your boy, Ked the Pro, aka the Calculated Millennial, aka the Encore presentation. Now, can I get an encore? Do you want more? The 843 is me. Baltimore is the place to be. Always chaotic, never toxic most days. And back again, once again, with your favorite black culture highlights and black culture shenanigans. This is a very special episode, y'all. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to have these two gentlemen on the pod with me. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks and we finally were able to make it happen, recording late night, obviously, because that's what we do. And yeah, I have been listening to them for quite a while. And if you haven't heard me shout them out on the rundown that I do at the end of every episode or just about every other episode, then this is my chance to actually introduce to y'all if you haven't heard of them by now. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna let them do their own intro, and then we gonna get it. We gonna get it how we live. So, Paulo, please, sir, go ahead and do the honors.
Mike Check. I'm Polo. I'm one half host of Mike Check Waifu Waifu. We come to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT with seasonal anime conversation. Um, yeah, it's literally Mike Check is my only occupation right now. I do stream every once in a very blue moon, but mostly just the podcast, man. That's it.
All right,
Yes, sir.
and I'm Teliano, the other bro host of the duo. We obviously this is my brother from another, and I'm a personal trainer. I do got a part-time job, and also this is the most fun thing I do on the weekends on Sunday. So
Mhm.
it's a beautiful, lovely thing we've been doing for quite some time. So
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. It's quite a long time, man. But y'all
Yeah,
are doing the damn thing over there for real, for real.
we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Now, as with all other podcast episodes, we typically start with just a mental health check, just checking to make sure that everybody's good and everybody, is doing the best that they can despite the
Mm.
circumstances. And then, if you don't like want to share what you're going through, then by all means, you're not obligated to. But for me, I like to dive deep a little bit into my mental health, and I will say that this week has actually not been bad from a mental health standpoint. I think that I've had some clarity on some certain things,
Mm.
and I think that the move to Baltimore was probably the best thing that I could have imagined, at least within a short period of time. I did
Yeah.
not think that I would be in much better spirits when I left Virginia, but being in a new environment and just in a new culture and surrounded by more friends because most of my friends had left Virginia at that time, it has actually really boosted my mental health and has boosted my spirits. So I think that this move has actually helped for the better. And of course, the job is the job. We were talking about that and rapping about it a little bit before the podcast. And it does get tiring. Yes, very exhausting, but it is what it is. Still young, still got an able body, so I ain't tripping too much. And I mean,
Yeah.
it is worth the money for the most part. But
Right.
in any case, man, I think that this has been a wonderful experience for me, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds. So between Polo and Tel, whoever would like to go first.
So I'm in Houston, the outskirts of Houston, really. And y'all know the hurricane came through
Yeah.
about 10 days without power. That sucked. But I
For real?
actually I love the unplug I get from it.
Mm.
So I feel like it was a nice little reset. We cleaned the house all the way down, cleared out the deep freezer, cleared out the fridge and freezer, and we just kind of got to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that was the best part of it. And it sucks because we were in a house a little bit with no AC. Then we had a generator. We was running the AC on that a little bit, and that was nice. It was kind of just like, you know how that unplugged just feels sometimes. And Polo and I talk about it all the time. We see social media, but sometimes we just back away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It was so simple and clean, like Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, man, I'm feeling a lot better, especially even because I got to spend time with my wife. And we talked about that with COVID, how COVID brought out a lot of sometimes you find out you just really don't want to be with somebody because that's all you're doing. For
Yeah.
me, I
Mm-hmm.
love when I don't have to do nothing and I can just spend that time with my wife and kids.
Hmm.
So I'm in a good state of mind. So yeah, what's up, Brolo?
Yeah, I mean, same for me. The one thing that put me in the better state of mind, because prior to that, I used to spend a lot of time on social media, and it's just not really being there. This is a little behind the sauce, but I feel like it's necessary to talk about this during this mental health conversation. Is unplugging from Twitter and unplugging from even Facebook. It's just been serene,
Mm-hmm.
chill, cool, special. Spending time with my lady. I love being able to just sit back and think about nothing, not worry about nothing, no politics, no takes that I literally actually used to get angry for. I don't bother with it no more, man. And it's gave me the best I would say probably last few months of my life is because of straight unplugging. I do have to, do like the social media stuff for Mike Check. So I just schedule
Yeah.
tweets. I schedule tweets on the PC. So I'm not doing it on my phone. I schedule it on the computer and I just let it go. And I don't ever touch it again for the rest of the week unless, some more people come through and they mention something. Then we'll respond, obviously. But most of my time is spent unplugged from social media and playing video games is all it's been. And I love it.
Hey, that's not a bad life to live, bro.
Yeah, I'm
And
living the dream right now.
yes, sir. And speaking of simple and clean, for Kingdom Hearts, it's
Yeah.
funny that you mentioned that, Tail, because I am. Well, I guess I'm playing it for the first time. Not playing Kingdom Hearts for the first time because I've been playing that shit since I was 11. But
Okay.
I downloaded Kingdom Hearts uh Final Mix and Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix for the PS5 because I'm a PS Plus member and they was like, "Oh, this is included." I'm like, "Man, let me
For
hop back
sure.
in this shit." So I watched my friend D, and of course she's playing Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, and I'm like, well, while she's doing that, I'm going to play Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and just to see if I remember the mechanics of the game. I loved Kingdom Hearts 2, but I had never played the Final Mix version, and there are a couple things just even in the Roxas portion that were a little different than what I remember. I'm like, wait a minute, he did
Yeah.
what?
Hmm.
Did they
Okay.
make it good? No, let me
Oh,
chill. Let me chill. Let me chill.
listen. We can talk about the convoluted story
Uh,
about Kingdom Hearts all day because that is very, very convoluted, and the storyline itself is just like, huh? Okay,
Exactly.
but but Kingdom Hearts 2 is still probably the best game out of all the Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts,
it
100%.
is. Oh my
I agree
god.
with that.
and Final Mix, even just starting Final Mix again, I'm like, yo, I'm back to being a 14-year-old again, playing this shit for the first time. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of which, for DreamCon, I'm going to do something Kingdom Hearts related. It's not like a
Dope.
full blown
Bring my
Kingdom
own
Hearts
keyblade.
cosplay, but yeah, for sure, I'm gonna have two Keyblades on me.
There it
I had to
is.
get. Originally wanted the Kingdom Hearts D or Dark Side, but that didn't happen. So, but I do have like a replica of the regular ass Kingdom Key. So I
Okay.
have that, and I found Riku's Way to the Dawn. Like that shit was hard to find, but I found that shit. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, my favorite Keyblade of all time outside of Ultimate Weapon. So I'm like, yep, I'm about to be in this bitch.
That's a clean setup right there already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I cannot wait to pull this shit off on Saturday at DreamCon. For
Polo hate us.
Don't do this, Tail. Don't do
Polo,
this.
Polo hates us.
He knows how I feel about Kingdom Hearts. I tell
It's
him
his
all the
second
time.
favorite game of all time.
I hate this game series, and it's the reason why is because it's like Kev said, you can't follow the story, you can't at
is
all
no,
whatsoever, and it's just so convoluted. It's
This
like
this this
no,
is the person. This is coming from the person who loves good storytelling. It's too all over the place for me.
it's
I
garbage,
can't put
bro.
the lines together. Come on,
it
bro.
look. I thought the story wasn't as convoluted after Birth by Sleep and then after Dream Drop Distance. I'm like, okay, it's got like, a little convoluted, but you know what? It's still okay. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped, and I'm like, oh my God.
What
Yeah, I
happened?
don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
don't know.
even know what parts of that is real. I just
Yeah,
know my name
we
was in
really
it.
don't. That's the crazy part. It's like, yo, what's real? What's fake? What the hell is going on for real? For real? But I guess we'll see whenever Kingdom Hearts 4 drops. The storyline guy in me that loves storylines is gonna be like, oh boy, here we go. But
Right.
the kid in me is just like, you still want to play this shit, so just go ahead and buy the
Yeah,
game when it comes out. So yeah,
We there. You got to
yeah,
get it.
whenever it comes out, if the Square Enix decides to drop it. But with that in mind, y'all, I definitely wanted to, get to a chance to talk to y'all more about the anime that's been happening, of course, this past winter and spring season, and of course with the summer being here now.
hmm
Um, some of the anime that you guys have been checking out and whatnot. Again, I'm 2 episodes behind on Mic Check, but I wanted the opportunity to talk to you guys about some anime that y'all might be able to put me on because y'all have definitely put me onto a lot of things and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And then there are some that I haven't been able to get into just because with the mediums that we have for anime, whether it be the Crunchyroll or whether it be Hulu or whether it be Disney Plus or whether you pirate it,
Right.
it's just a lot of the volume of anime that's accessible to everybody is just
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. So you have to like really, really pace yourself. But you guys go in here and like pretty much this is like y'all job. Like
Yep.
y'all treat this like a true profession. So with that, I do just want to start on so far this year out of all the seasons, what has been like the number one anime on your list?
Mm.
So far this year.
Yeah,
Oof.
this year.
What a great question, Kid. Let me just browse. If y'all
Yeah,
see me
I'm
looking at this
browsing
other
really quick.
screen, I'm checking out AniList. We swear and we die by AniList. AniList is our
It's
anime bible.
I'm doing the
So
same.
same exact thing.
And
Yeah.
for those who don't know, y'all, they watch a lot of anime. I mean,
I'm
a lot of
like
anime. So
hundreds of like 100 anime a year at least.
pretty much.
Um, oof.
All right.
Okay. This is a tough one because okay, I got it. I got it. Yeah, I'm gonna just go with this one, even though I'm not gonna go with anything returning. Obviously, no season twos or anything like that. So I'm gonna just start
Right,
with
right, right,
something
right,
new
right.
that felt fresh. And I guess I guess this is kind of spoiler for what we were going to talk about a little bit later. But I'm probably going to have to go with Windbreaker. And
Mm.
it was one that I talk about this during our live show. We had a live episode um where we were preview the season anime before we start watching it, and we preview Windbreaker. We said, you know what, we're gonna review this one at the end of the season. It don't look like it's gonna be good, but fuck it, we'll try it. You know what I'm saying? It looked like a
Mhm.
typical shonen anime that we. And for those of you that do listen to Mike Check, I'm not the shonen guy. I'm not that big into the shonen type of anime. So
He's
I,
not.
I was very, very skeptical going into this one, but when I turned it on and discovered the character development within this show, blew me back. I mean, it blew me back. So
Son.
Windbreaker, so far this year, Windbreaker is probably my favorite, and that's just coming off of like a quick thinking as of right
Mhm.
now. So yeah, I think I'm good with that one.
Polo put me in a hard position because I don't want to go with the same thing that he's going with. So I'm gonna go with one that really kind of like surprised me and caught my eye in general.
Okay.
Um, as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world.
That is
Amazing,
on my list.
I, I
Oh, I need to get
I
into
know
it.
the name is
incredible show.
long. I know the name is long, but I feel like with each syllable, this one got better. Um,
With each syllable.
each syllable, bro. I am gonna say that. I mean, realistically, it's not probably not gonna be for everybody. But if you like a well developed character with continued growth throughout the entirety of a series, if you're not, because I know Shonen Head here, we love our action. It's not all about the action, although the action here is high quality in my opinion. So I
Hmm.
would even say that that would be. I wish it wasn't overlooked, but I feel like it is.
Yeah, very much
That's
so.
that's one that I've seen that just it was a breath of fresh air.
100%.
Man, and thank y'all once again for just reminding me to get into that anime
Uh,
because
you won't be
yeah,
disappointed.
I
I Cat, when I tell you I cry real tears, like tears. It wasn't like a shed. I cried real tears during an episode of that show. It was that
oh
good. Like it was
wow.
that good.
Hey, I'll take y'all word for it because again, they have put me on to a lot of shows, y'all. Like I kid you not, between um Astro Lost in Space,
Oh my
between
goodness.
yeah, you listen. I think that was the first one that I watched that y'all had recommended,
Oh
and
man.
I was just like blown back
Yeah.
when I first saw it. I was just like, yo,
We
what?
was too.
And I'm like, and it's a short series too, so I'm sitting here like
Right.
it's a great ending. It ended where it needed to be,
Hmm.
but secretly it's like, yo, I kind of want more. But
Right.
I think it needed to stop where it needed to stop, and
Hmm.
it's good. It did what it had to do. And then between Grimgar, that was
Oh,
the other one. Of
one of
course, I
my
was like,
favorites.
yo, they definitely put me on to that one. I definitely need to watch. It happened to be like at the same time that, of course, y'all were praising ReZero, that I happened to be
Hmm.
watching it at the same time that y'all were
Mm.
talking about it. So it was that, of course, I'm finally hearing, news about ReZero, was just like, thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
Man.
we finally getting it again. So yeah, they truly have made some great recommendations, guys. So
Appreciate that.
uh, yeah, not
Thank
a
you.
problem, man, at all. So if any of y'all are looking for like those seasonal anime recommendations, I highly recommend definitely checking out Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Like, I kid you not, they will not stir you wrong. And if you can do, you can come on this podcast and beat my ass. You won't be able to,
No,
but
that ain't happening.
you
That ain't
you damn
happening.
sure won't be able to. But I'm just saying, I'm putting my stamp on that.
Yeah.
Now, and unfortunately I don't have my Annie list here because unfortunately I still operate off of a Droid, and for whatever reason it does not have Annie list on here, and that's kind of a big disappointment. But I'm gonna eventually pull
Hold up.
that up.
What
But
you said droid?
yeah,
Oh, you talking about like a okay, never mind. I'm gonna leave you alone, brother.
yes, as like a Samsung Galaxy S22, bro. That is
Gotcha.
my phone,
Okay.
and for context, this phone was like damn near free, so that's why I bought it. Like, I was going to switch to like an iPhone just because all my friends have, but then they were like, "Oh, you're a Sprint customer going to T-Mobile. You know what? We got the Samsung Galaxy S22 and it's free." Oh,
Tell us a dread too.
yeah. Well,
Mm.
he. Why you make that look, bro? Oh, is that see? I want that damn phone.
I don't want this one no more. Though. I want to get the Google Pixel
Google Pixel.
Pro or Fold, whatever that's gonna be. But we'll talk about that later. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah, yeah.
trying to go. I'm trying to go to Google. Because Samsung they doing the ecosystem thing like Apple, and I don't want that.
Oh shit, here we go. But anyway, we've got the favorite anime this year, and I also will say Windbreaker was a phenomenal anime.
Hmm.
I was, again, when we talked about this on Shogo High, and we were just like, you know what, this is a delinquent anime, but I can't remember who exactly said it on that show, but someone has said, "Yo, you need to." Matter of fact, it was Tony. Tony said, "Yo, I read. This is gonna be the one, guys."
Mm,
And usually Tony is never wrong. So we were like, all right, cool. And just watching from start to finish season one, as
Hmm.
Polo had mentioned, like the character developments within this show were just absolutely like incredible. And it's like, yo, and
Yeah.
then the fact that Tony didn't spoil it, but he's like, hey, look, if you love this character development, yo, just wait, because the character development throughout the series is going to really blow you back. And I'm like, okay. So
I
now
can't wait.
I'm anticipating it. And then Rob went and read, and he was just like, he did one of these, like, yo,
mhm.
yeah, he was on to something on that. So I cannot wait for more Windbreaker. That was truly a phenomenal season, a delinquent series done correctly.
Talk to
Right.
me.
In my opinion, I don't want to get into the details of that other series that we, yeah, that Oh man, I had such high hopes.
Yeah, same.
You know, ironically enough, speaking of that other series, where I'm imagining it's what Tokyo Revengers or not? Or
Yeah,
no, yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately.
So speaking of that, I do think that the most enjoyable part of Windbreaker is that we have not touched, or like I never even heard of it before this. So
Right.
I
Mhm.
had no idea what the manga was or anything like that. And we go in watching it, and yes, it looks very, very like upfront shonen power of friendship kind of anime.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's so much more than that. It's so much
Big
more than
time.
that. It takes that whole concept and just builds on it and makes it I can't say it's necessarily unique, but it's believable
Right.
in
Yeah,
a sense, you know what I
very.
mean? Even though this is not I haven't personally seen this in the world, but it just feels believable. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a great I mean, it's great for what it is, and not even what it is. It's great for any anime. I think it's
100%.
100% the
Mhm.
best so far that we've seen this year.
Yeah. It does the like you said, the power of friendship trope, and it's like a super unique way that it that's what shocked me the most is the I guess it was the believability of the character's feelings that he was feeling in certain moments during the show, right? Like
Mhm.
that, and that was what impressed me the most. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? And not only that, it looked great. It's done by one of my favorite studios, so it looked great.
Yeah.
The sound was amazing. Just
Mm.
top tier show.
Yeah, and I think the best part about the character development is that it's not like an immediate fix. Like, oh,
Right,
now all of a sudden Sakura is this
Right.
super loving person that's open with everybody. Like, no,
yep,
it's this is a gradual build for
exactly.
breaking down his character, and I think that stories like that I want to see more of. Like I want to see, okay, how does this character deal with these situations? Like
Hmm.
how is
Right.
he going to overcome? Like how is he going to grow from it? And so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. So
Damn.
yeah, let's switch gears because I do want to at least get you guys' opinion about the reason that you started the podcast, and that's Demon Slayer.
Hmm.
So, and I just wanted to know what were your thoughts on this past season, from not only just the added stuff that was within the season, but just the animation in general, like the sound quality, things that you usually break down in your reviews.
This it's funny because the very few bits of pieces that I do kind of skim through Twitter, I did see a lot of people complaining about this particular season of Demon Slayer, which was strange. But
Mm,
again, every time there's a new season, it always tops the last season in my personal opinion. And even though this doesn't have anything major until the very end that was, bombastic and spectacular as Demon Slayer normally does,
right.
I feel like what we get in this particular season is a training arc that feels legitimately purposeful,
Mm,
sorry. And
mm-hmm.
that I think is a very important piece of why I like Demon Slayer more than I would any other typical shonen show, because of the training arc feels reasonable. I I believe it. I love learning about the Hashira the way we were, the way we was, and different pieces of I guess other characters outside of like the Hashira. Like I can't remember his name, but the guy, I think obviously at the end, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but
You talking about the master
yeah,
or
the master, yes.
okay?
Learning a little bit more about him and musing and Michael Jackson. It was awesome. It was an awesome thing to see, even though it was for that one episode that was technically 2.5 episodes. It was spectacular. It was just spectacular.
Mhm.
The entire season was spectacular. I'm surprised we didn't review this season of Demon Slayer. Tell I'm shocked by that actually.
We can always make that happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, my 2 cents is this. To me, the unsung hero of Demon Slayer outside of animation and sound design and the character development is literally the pacing. And I
Mhm.
say the pacing for this purpose. Demon Slayer, they or the producers and the anime studio, they have no qualms, no problems with saying we're not doing a traditional 12, 24 episode season. We'll
Yeah.
do a movie we'll do 6 episodes, we'll do a grand final episode, and that's the end of the season. Or we'll do 13 episodes with a 7 episode, speed, like 3 hit in the first or whatever. It's just like they don't care to be traditional with the pacing, and that's what kind of makes it feel so good to me. This last season, just like Polo said, I am very surprised because I actually hear it way more often than I was expecting. And I don't mean to make this sound like I'm a Demon Slayer fanboy, because I'm not like all into the lore of it necessarily or anything like that. I just think it's above I think it's above good. I think it's a great anime. So it's kind of like, when you look at how it's paced, they do such a good job of making delivery efficient. It is one of the most time efficient anime I feel like I've watched. It respects your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
In more than one way, because not only are you getting a well-paced anime, but you're getting beautiful sound design, you're getting beautiful animation, you're getting character development, you're getting things you actually care about with the majority of these characters. So I would say to this season has been amazing, and Demon Slayer has been amazing and continue to be so.
And I just want to like the fact that it's the way it's ending. I know. Shout out to Rob J. He's not a fan of the whole 3 movie thing, but I absolutely think that's brilliant. And we talked about it on our podcast, but it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way of capping the series off and not overstaying its welcome like My Hero does, or getting in its own way and tripping over its own feet. Like it's a perfect. It's going to be a perfect. I think. I could be wrong. Come back into this episode and tell me I'm wrong later. But it's probably going to be a perfect capstone to a series that I end up falling in love with. And what Tell said about the lore, he's not that into the lore. I kind of am. It's simple, but I enjoyed its simplicity.
I mean, I'm
It's
not like doing deep dives outside of just
That's true.
watching
Same.
it. Is
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Good
Like,
point.
yeah,
Good
I'm
point.
all in the lore when I'm watching it, but I'm not in the in the trenches with my shovel. Like, let me dig
Yeah.
up this information on what's happening. In
like I did with Overlord back in the
right.
day.
You mean last week?
I love Overlord.
I do too, yo. Like I actually got an Overlord shirt for DreamCon. I'm like,
Let's
yo,
go.
I'm buying this shit and I'm wearing it. But yeah, I think for me, when it comes to Demon Slayer, as someone who actually read the manga itself, I was surprised that I did see a few people complaining about this particular arc. But for me, I think that this is a case where Ufotable actually did something right. And in a lot of anime, we have this discourse about filler and whatnot, or whether
Mhm.
filler actually helps or hinders an anime. In a lot of shonen, you'll see that it'll absolutely hinder it, especially when we go back into the days of the big three, or
Mhm.
even just some of the stuff before the big three and whatnot. That
Right.
filler would just be like, it's just there. It doesn't really add to the plot. Doesn't really add to the characters. It's
Yeah.
just there, kind of give it a gap between what the anime is doing and what the mangaka is doing. But in this instance, because the story is finished, I think what Ufotable wanted to do, and I think what they did well, was add certain elements to this arc to make it more engaging. Like, we didn't see uh Tanjiro going through all of this stuff throughout his training. Like,
Interesting.
you got to see the stuff with the Wind Hashira and of course with the Stone Hashira, but you didn't see any of the other stuff beforehand. It's like, and of course you have the confrontation with the water hashira. There, it's there, but it's not as in depth. It's just, there's a lot of elements that they added to it to actually boost the arc, and I
That's
was
dope.
thrown back like, yo, they really did a great job with this. And the animation is always going to be 100% stellar with Demon Slayer, just the way
Right.
that Ufotable has created this anime. It's like, this is an instance where I would tell people, like, don't read the manga, just watch the anime, because it's I think you will enjoy what Ufotable has done to this anime, and how they've created such a captivating series. So I am looking forward to the 3 movies. I'm kind of on the Rob J side, where it's like, the 3 movie part, the only reason why I'm a little bit like is just because I want to know how long it's going to take to break them up. But as far as putting them in 3 movies itself, I'm not totally against. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is a perfect way to end the series and get itself out the way, because we're really at the end now. So,
Yeah.
but if it was like in the case of, and I'm just gonna like throw a series out there, um, for instance, I know it went the Sailor Moon route, which pretty much like Sailor Moon, it went when it did the original story again. It's like, okay, for the next two arcs, you're gonna get four movies, like two movies for this arc and then two movies for this arc, and that's
Mm,
kind of similar to what Demon Slayer is, except the three movies are going to encapsulate just the final major arc and
Right.
whatnot. So I think that it is a unique way to end the series, and I'm just looking forward to it. As long as it's not like, I just hope that these movies come out before I turn 40. That's all I
that,
pray.
that was gonna be my question to you then. What is an optimal time for the movies to come out in between each other?
I think if we give it maybe between a year up to maybe a year and a half, I think that would probably be reasonable. If I'll say I'm 33 now, so if the series ends and I'm like 36, I think that's like, okay, that's kind of reasonable, because the seasons were kind of broken up for about a year and some change between each other anyway. So this is
Yeah.
not, totally out the norm. But if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we're gonna drop this movie and then we're gonna drop another one 2 years later, and then we're gonna drop the other one 3 years later, then it's like, okay, y'all
I
doing too
get it.
much.
Yeah. That
So
I understand.
Like I was telling Polo, Ufotable did the Heavensfield movies, and the first two movies were separated by 12 months, but then the next one was 16 months. So we are looking at probably about 2.5, 3 years for all three movies to come out.
yeah, what's crazy is that I still have not watched the Heavensfield movies, and I'm a Fate guy. So I need to go and watch this, because I've seen the regular Fate Stay Night, I've seen Unlimited Blade Works, I've seen Apocrypha, and all the other series, which are more or less hit or miss depending on which series you watch. But I definitely want to watch Evansfield, because I heard that that was really good.
Yeah,
So
it is actually one of the better stories, but they definitely, I guarantee the same Heavens Feel bag that they had for the animation and sound design is going to
mhm,
be in those same movies for Demon Slayer, because
mm,
Mm.
I know they're going to turn it up to the max,
Even better, in my
even better,
probably.
because
yeah,
those are beautiful movies. Those, like all
Yeah.
over
they
the place, they're beautiful movies, but I know they're going to turn it up for Demon Slayer, because even the camera angles they use in Demon Slayer, we talk about camera angles and cinematography in anime.
mhm.
Uh, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna hit the wildest possible the wildest possible panels they can get.
If the last episode was any indication, they will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That shit was
Listen, I
crazy.
was
Crazy.
amazed at that scene. I'm like, yo, Ufotable said, yo, throw the entire budget
Yeah.
at this last episode.
Couldn't have had a
It would,
budget.
yeah, it was that
Unbelievable.
crazy. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Demon Slayer does, and how it ends off, and I feel like I won't be disappointed. I
Yeah,
was a
me same.
little, it was deflating reading the manga, but then again, what Ufotable was able to do with this past season makes me hopeful that these three movies are going to be like they're going to be pristine. So I'm looking forward to that. To move on, we talked about favorite anime this year between winter, spring, and summer. What has been a least favorite that you kind of like, and not ones that you dropped? I mean, ones that you watched all the way through and you were just like, nah, this ain't it.
Ones that we didn't drop because when it was
Oh,
this year specifically, right?
Yeah, this year specifically.
So we got to the point. I think it was last year we started doing this. That if we don't like it, we're dropping it.
Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of hard to find one that we've didn't finish.
the least favorite one for me, and I feel like we can both agree on this. I don't even know if you actually finished this one. Unnamed Memory.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh, I'm glad I stayed away from that.
Oh my goodness. It
It
was
started off
good.
so
It
good.
was
Oh,
good. And it went the whole what was it, Love Flops? It went the whole opposite direction of that. It just went
yeah.
Oh
straight
shit.
downhill by episode 7.
It made no sense by the time it was all said and done. By the time it was all said and done, everything that was done is just was gone.
Wow.
It's awful. That's a good
Even
one. So I agree with that.
even at the end of the season, it was awful. It was
Yep.
awful.
Yep.
They basically it's all reset.
Yep. It
Dang.
was rough. Don't
said the
watch it.
opposite of love flops, and then that reminds me of another anime that, yeah, Kingdoms of Ruin.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Just and I got to talk about it just because
Mm.
how it started and how Rob and myself were just invested, and then it just like I don't know what episode it was, but I just was watching them like, yo, what the fuck is
What
this
we all
shit?
we all
Yeah,
said the same thing,
Bro,
probably at
like
around the same episode.
I swear
probably.
it was like 4 or 5 episodes in though, because like the first few was like real solid,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and then it just went every way but right.
Yeah, I will proudly admit that I couldn't finish. I was like, yeah, at right at episode 10, I'm like, I'm stopping.
Yeah, I
There's
think
no
that's where
point
I
at this
stopped
point.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, it just it was bad, and
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point now where, as I said in the beginning of this episode, there were times where, like, when I would hear you guys speak on an anime, because you might be a little bit ahead of me, and I'm just like, oh, it's getting bad. No, please don't let this be true. Like, this can't be. Like, let me watch a little further. I might they might be wrong, or
yeah, of
maybe it's
course.
just their taste, because
Right,
Yep.
right.
again, they watch a lot of anime. Maybe I might be different, because I know that as compared to the two of you, I know that I am more easily entertainable than the average person, and
I'm
I just say
easily
that because,
entertained.
yeah, I'm not. That's not a knock on you, tell. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to like certain anime, there's anime that I enjoy, but they may not necessarily be the best anime in the world, i.e., Fairy Tale. But that's a guilty pleasure of mine. That's like, this is
Yeah.
a terrible anime, but I like watching it or reading it for some strange reason.
So
And so
We
no judgment, because like I'm gonna be real, it really ultimately does not matter to I think I can speak for Polo on this
yes.
too, that
mhm.
it ultimately does not matter to either one of us. Like if you really like something like Fairy Tale, it's really just if you're the kind of person who likes Fairy Tale and tears down everyone else's favorite anime, because then
Oh
you're like
nah, I
a
don't do
horrible
that.
person in general.
Yeah,
uh and then
that's out the way.
the only other thing I can say is like, how was the ending of Ninja Kamui?
I also did not reach the ending of Ninja
Okay,
Kamui. I actually
I was just
I'm gonna be
wondering.
honest. I stopped at episode 4 because I'm like, okay, yo, the it's for me like there was nothing wrong with the animation, and even the
Great
story was kind of
animation.
like, but for me, it was the dialogue.
Okay.
And for those who know, I'm an actor. And when I hear terrible dialogue or clunky
My
dialogue, I get turned off
goodness.
real fast.
Head is spitting right now. This
Yeah.
I said it from moment one, episode one. This dialogue is the worst shit I've ever heard in my life. It was so strange. Everything was delivered strangely, like it was brand new
Yeah.
actors. And I know none of them were, like they weren't brand new actors, but it seemed like it was like acting for the first time. It was so terrible. Oh,
Mhm.
and the
And
contradictions.
the direction of that story for me was just not good. It didn't matter. I think even if it didn't feel like what they were talking about was even joined with what was happening. I don't know what was going on. But I mean, like I said, it was pretty.
People was cussing us
Yeah.
out on Twitter
I
when we were talking
swear.
about how bad that show was.
Dang, like I think I was one of those people. I'm like, well, I know that he kind of jumped on this early, but let me at least watch a little more just to see if the same thing shows up again. Because I gave it like the benefit of the doubt for
Of
episode 1. I'm like,
course.
okay, it's just
Yeah.
episode 1. Let me see if this thing gets a little better. Episode 2. Okay. Episode 3. All right, Joe. Like, okay. We're here. Yeah. And then at episode 4, I'm like, nope. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it was the mechs that kicked me in the chest. Like, after I saw the mechs, I was like, "Yep, I don't think I can breathe watching this one."
And it's crazy because I'm a mech head, but when they just like
I
when
like
mechs are inserted like randomly,
it's the
Yeah,
I
it's
like
the
mechs, but I
randomness.
don't like my mechs and my ninjas to mix. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
too much. That's like they
exactly.
like what was that Yasuo? Like did
Yasuke.
anybody
Mm,
Oh,
Yasuke?
don't
Yeah, yeah,
remind me.
Yasuke. Did anybody
Oh,
even like that Yasuke anime?
mm-mm.
hell
Uh,
no.
we got Samurai and mechs. We didn't like it then. We're not gonna like it
Yeah,
now. It
nah,
doesn't matter
right.
how pretty they were. Both pretty. It just wasn't good.
Oh man, Yasuke was the biggest waste of potential
Oh
that
my God, yes.
I ever. And it's just like, yo, like we had a chance to tell the story of Yasuke, and then
Hmm.
Yeah.
and first episode, I'm like, yo, where did these mechs come from? Where's this? Is this a story about magic now? Like, what? We got magic and mechs and samurais.
we
What's
Mhm.
going on here?
we really tried to support it too. We really did, and it just
Tried.
it couldn't. It didn't work.
No, not one bit. And I sat through all 6 episodes, and I was like, yeah, I'm
That
not getting that time back.
that was a long 6 episodes. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Very long.
Yeah, yeah. I want to just mention another series that I also tried to give a chance, but yeah, yeah, I consider this one of the worst ones. It's Platinum End, and y'all will hear me trash this anime from now until I die,
Yes.
just because I was just like, yo, okay. It started off. I had such high hopes,
You
and
and us both.
this is the anime that made me realize, bro, temper your expectations, like Rob J says, because
Yeah.
Hmm.
boy, did this shit get terrible, and I'm like,
Quickly.
very, very quickly, and then after old dude died, and then this little kid comes out of nowhere. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm done, y'all. I tried.
Yeah,
I tried.
that has to be one of our, and specifically mine because I'm the one that put out the tweet. One of my biggest regretted tweets. I'm like, after the first episode I watched Platinum, man, this is probably gonna be one of the best series ever. And I think I still got the tweet up, and I'm not gonna delete it. Obviously, I'm gonna stand by it. It was wrong. It was so
Yeah,
wrong.
absolutely wrong.
um,
But and yeah, it was one of those things like you enjoyed the first episode, like yes, and then yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
you got the
yeah.
creator of Death Note coming back with something like
Hmm.
it's unique. It seemed like it was looking good, and then
nope.
the
Nope.
opposite.
Ironically enough, I think I actually recommended that to someone after I finished watching it, and
Did you hate him? Well,
well, the way this person described anime, I was like, bro, I don't know if you're gonna like anything, but here, I got this one for you. And
you rec-
I told him like, I don't even like this. I don't even like this myself. But
Mm-mm.
based off the shows you said you like maybe you'll like this one.
Mm,
It it was that, and I think Juni Taisen because I just
Ugh.
this person did not. They like death battle stuff, like just that.
Uh,
mm.
And I was like, okay,
Darwin's Game would have been one you could have recommended,
that's true. But yeah,
an actual decent one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Darwin's Game was pretty decent.
Hmm.
anything else?
Well, yeah, guys. And to get off of the topic, I just want to say that yeah, these are some of the anime again where as I like to say, I'm very easily entertained, and I will even give bad anime a chance. But if it's just too bad, even I ain't gonna touch it. So I have my guilty pleasures
Yeah.
just because for whatever reason maybe the tropes are hilarious and I'm
Hmm.
like okay yeah cool, but in the back of my head I'm like it's not a good anime. Again, fairy tale, it's like I like watching it, I like reading it, but will I put it ever in my top 50 anime if even? No, absolutely not. It's
Yeah.
no, it's getting nowhere near that list, but I still watch it.
Yeah.
But
How's that new one going?
100-year quest, okay. So I read it, and I this how do I best put this in words? It started out like and then it got a lot better,
Hmm.
and then it got worse.
Sounds like
It's one
fairy
of those
tale.
things where it's
Eh,
like,
eh?
yeah, it was like, oh, 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 shit, here we go. Just it was getting to a point where I was like, yo, they are actually depending on their own strength and their own training. They're actually like doing something for real, and then the power of friendship trope comes back, and I'm just
There it
like,
is.
damn it,
There it
damn it.
is.
Yeah.
And it was one of those Urza fights, and I'm just like, I didn't literally throw my phone, but I literally just wanted to chuck it. Like, yo, what the man? We were this Hero Master, we were this close, but and then after that, it's just kind of like it's just there. I think it's in its final stages right now. But I am going to finish it off because I am a trooper.
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm going to finish reading it, but yeah, it's like okay, as long as it doesn't end the way that Fairy Tale ended, I'm okay. But if this goes about like the same way that Fairy Tale ended, then yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'll ever trust the work from Hiro Mashima ever again at this point. But we'll
I
see.
I can't believe I got to the point to a little bit after the time skip. I put so much effort into Fairy Tale, thinking I was going to try my best to enjoy it, and it just didn't work. It couldn't. I tried everything. Even that same thing with Black Clover. I tried. I really did. 130 episodes.
See, I'm more tolerant with Black Clover. I
Yeah,
think that
most people are.
it's yeah, it's a lot. It's a more palatable show and a more palatable read, but with Fairy Tale, there's just a lot of tropes in there that it's just
Mhm.
it gets too much.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of my trash readings, so I'm
Black
like,
Black Clover is definitely easy to digest reading.
yeah.
I actually, like I know Fairy Tale is a bad example of it, but if they just could execute that power of friendship better,
Yeah, and there's ways
it
to
would
do
be
that.
way easier
Yeah.
to watch. But yeah, 90 episodes in did not feel like it was getting better.
Right. And I know you guys don't care about spoilers when it comes to Fairy Tale, so
No,
but
hell no.
for everybody else, listen, I'm just gonna say there are like two fights that really actually had gotten me invested. One of the fights was uh Natsu versus Ignia.
Mhm.
Um and well not versus Ignia. It's when he first meets Ignia, and Ignia actually gives him his power, and Natsu loses control because it's a fire that he's never dealt with before, and it's just beyond his capabilities. That's what's like, oh shit, he doesn't know how to really control this shit because Igni is just that much powerful.
Mm,
But then he actually has a fight with the wood dragon god, and I'm like, okay, actually this shit makes sense because now he's learning to control this power, plus his power as a you know, Dragon Slayer and his power as a fucking fire demon, he's finally able to put all of that together. So it's like, okay, this is starting to make sense now. I'm starting to understand his power a little bit better without having to dive deep into the power of friendship.
yeah.
And then it just like it regressed at that point. And
It,
yeah,
So
it
close.
Igni is Natsu's like dad or mom or something.
so Igneal was the dragon that raised Natsu. Ignia is Igneal's actual son.
Okay.
Yeah. So he meets his actual son, and he's the fire dragon god. And he's
Mm,
just like he's pretty much the big bad of this series.
Hmm.
okay.
So he's gonna be the final villain, and it's gonna be the final fight.
Dope. Well, not really, but
Yeah, it's it it is what it is. I can't. I'm again. I'm gonna read.
At
I
Polo
want to see
Morphly
what
on
the final
Twitter.
fight looks like. So yeah. Moving on. I do want to ask anime that you feel deserved all the hype. We know about tempering our expectations and of other people's opinions and how we deal with that. But if there's a particular anime, and it could be at any point in time that you believe that it
okay.
actually did deserve the hype that it got.
Actually, did deserve the hype that it got. See, that's tough because I I do feel like our taste is very very different from most of the communities.
Hmm.
Kind of more unique. I will say I will probably go with Oshinoko. I think that is properly hyped from the community. And it just reminded me that this season two has been just as spectacular as
Amazing.
season one was. But it's I think Oshinoko is the one I've seen the most about that everybody's hyping up that has lived up to that hype for sure.
Funny you mentioned that. I actually have to start season two. I love season one,
Oh
so
gosh, so good.
yeah, I can't wait to start season
It's
two. I'm a little behind
so
again on
good.
summer anime again, job, but yeah,
You got a lot of good
I'm ready for
stuff
it.
ahead of
Yeah,
you for
man.
this summer for sure. 27 shows we're watching this summer.
Yeah.
Woo.
I would have to go with the one, the only, the free run.
Mm,
Which, if anything, I would just say it's understated how good it is.
yeah,
Free Ren was phenomenal.
top five, honestly.
Yes, I loved Free Ren,
Yeah.
like from start to finish. And any anime that this year that I had recommended, or the end of last year, I guess, when people were talking about, hey, what anime you watching right now? I'm like, yo, y'all gotta watch Free Rent. Like,
Yeah.
no bullshit. And I don't even like really super recommend a lot of anime anymore, just because I know people have different tastes. But I was like, yo,
Right.
if you don't watch nothing else, just watch this.
Yeah, man.
Just watch it. Especially if you are like me. I love, anime that deals into like mythical or fantasy,
Yeah.
and then
And it's done
getting,
the right way.
yeah, and
Mhm.
done the right way. On top of that, you get to see different characters and how they develop, and then just Freeland in general throughout her journey, being as old as she is, and how
Hmm.
she learned, you know, pretty much how humans are and whatnot, and how that softened and created her character. It's like,
Oh.
okay, I I love it. I absolutely loved the anime. So that was a great choice, too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely top five. I think it's my number four now. If I look them up, yeah,
Yeah.
number four of all time for me.
Hey, deserved. Absolutely deserved. Okay. Uh Anime that did not deserve all the hype this year.
uh,
This
this
year.
year.
Mm.
Hmm.
uh,
That one's tough.
hold up. I'm gonna find something.
We talked about Ninja Kamui, but that was definitely hyped up on Twitter, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, that one backfired on the community. I don't like
Very
that.
much so. I,
Yeah, it was the only time I asked for an apology, and I never got it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Uh,
That's crazy. But
Wait,
no,
uh,
it
seventh time
deserves
loop
though.
was this year?
seventh time it was this year. Yeah,
Oh man.
I don't know, man. What was what? Okay, let me ask you this then. Let me flip the
Mhm.
question. What was hyped up? Because you're a little bit more entrenched than we were.
So I'm gonna say, and this is coming from someone who still likes the story, but I think maybe I'm getting a bit of fatigue from it, and that's My Hero.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, and
yes,
it's
Mm.
not a, oh, I hate the story. I'm still obviously watching it, and I'm still want to see how they animate it. But I think from just the fatigue of when will it end, because I will say that this final arc does drag a
oh
little
my,
bit longer than
awful.
I would have liked it.
Yes.
And it just seemed like, okay, we're getting to the end, and then another twist happens, and then it's like, okay, we're finally getting to the end, and then another twist happens. I'm like, yo, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? And then finally we get to the end. It's like,
You sure you
it's
want to
like a,
listen to the most recent episode of
Yeah.
Mike Check?
And
I'm sure I haven't, bro. I'm
We
sure,
literally
but
had this
it's,
exact
yeah, I
conversation.
swear, fatigue is the
yeah,
perfect word because that's exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Every time I
it's
think about My Hero, I'm like,
Because
I know I'm at the end and I'm reading it. I'm like, I don't have much left. I'm just like,
it,
right.
it it was a series, and I talked about this on our podcast. So for the crossover listener, sorry for repeating it, but it was a series that brought me back into anime back when it first came out. I loved every bit of it until about season four. Season four was it season four or season? It might have been whichever one had was over. What was his name? With the guy with the mask.
overhaul.
Overhaul. Whatever.
Shizuki.
That season sucked to me, but the I was invested so much into My Hero. I loved it so much until that season, and then six was a perfect season. I think it was a great season,
Yeah,
and then
6 was
seven
perfect.
happened, and it's dragging so much, and I feel like it was just it's supposed to be these dramatic. I'm not. I guess I'm not going to go into spoilers, but it's supposed to be these dramatic moments that happen, and I can't care. I can't care about it because I know that it's not over. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that is it's like enough is enough. And I say this on Twitter. It's tripping over its own feet, but that answer to that question is the perfect one, and I think we both agree with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely My Hero for sure. I thought it was going to be something more. I guess uh different than My Hero though. I feel like everybody feels this way about My Hero.
And maybe so, but I know that for me, I after Star and Stripe, it's just like, and this is me from a reader standpoint. From the Star and
Mm,
Stripe part, I was like really excited about, and then as the final battle continued, it just was like,
yeah,
okay, this is dragging a little longer, and then it just kept going. I'm like, okay, this is getting drug out even longer than I
because of that
would
terrible
like.
backstory placement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as you said, like the backstory placements, the fact that All for One just will not die. It seems like no matter what, he's just has contingency after contingency after contingency after contingency. One or two contingencies is fine.
Right.
Having like multiple after to the point where I'm just like, bro, will you just go away?
Have you read this?
It's so yeah, and again, I'm a reader, so I was
Okay.
feeling fatigue reading the manga, so that's why I'm like easing my way through the anime because it's like, yes, I
Man.
still want to see this happen, but at the same time, I'm like not forcing myself to,
Yeah.
watch it week after week whenever the episode drops. It's like I'll get to it when I'll get to it.
Hmm.
I got
That's
My
kind of
Hero
what it is.
Burnout.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
It's burnout.
it's because of that money, man. It's My Hero
Yeah,
brings in
right.
so much money that it's probably going to be harder for them to end it properly.
Oshinoko just talked about this.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
editor's job?
Yep. To drag it out as long as possible.
Possible. Yeah, see. This is why I need to hurry up and get on the season 2, man. I cannot wait.
You are
But
absolutely going to love it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. But yes, yes, it is My Hero for me. And I'm sorry to my anime listeners and whatnot. I know again I'm very easily entertained, but even I get burnt out. So it
You're
it
spitting
is
too.
what it is. I am just hoping that once this manga like officially ends, which should be I guess in a couple of weeks or so, that it'll be like, okay, we can kind of close the book on this chapter. And
Yeah.
overall, I may have a better positive outlook once everything is all set in stone. But I did give the manga the space and the time needed to actually finish the way that he wanted to finish instead of rushing it. It just felt like it was a little too drug out, but that's just my personal
So,
opinion.
so, so you think
Look,
he didn't drag it out because he was forced to?
I don't know if he was forced to drag it out or not. He probably was,
Yeah, that's
but
what I'm thinking.
this
yeah, at the same time, I don't want people to like rush because that's
That's true too.
for me
Mhm.
when you get series like Bleach, Kubo was forced to cut it off before he got a chance to like actually really tell his story and whatnot. And now you see
Yeah.
elements of that story playing out in Thousand Year Blood War.
Whew, so good.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I would rather the mangaka. If you drag it out a little, it's fine. It just
Mhm.
seems that this time with My Hero, Horikoshi just drags it out a little more than
yeah,
need be.
How many times
So
you got to fight Shigaraki, man? That's all I gotta
yeah,
all of them.
exactly. At
All of
that,
them.
like I said, it's like Shigaraki won't go down, All for One won't go down, and it
Abi
just
won't
won't,
die.
yeah, it just won't die and get out the way. I'm like, okay, how long we gonna do this, guys? How
I
long
ain't
are we
gonna
gonna
lie.
do
I've
this?
been
But
waiting for All Might to die. If All Might had died, I'd actually enjoy the show more. And I know that's crazy, but I feel
That
like
would
him
have
just
been more
doing the show
impactful,
still for
probably.
what? You know what I mean?
after this battle, I thought that he was. I don't mean to spoil it, Bolo, but yeah, it's just
That's
like
fine.
I literally thought, yo, this might be it for him. Like this is really about to be it. And then yeah, spoiler alert, guys. If you don't want to listen to that part, you can skip ahead. But yeah, it doesn't happen. So, but anyway, that is one that I feel fatigue from, and that did not deserve the hype that it got, just because it's burnout for me. So, um, I just want to know what is like one of the most underrated gems that you found that
Mm.
you hope people will watch. It could be really out of any anime that you watch, or it could be this past season, or whatever. Just an underrated gem that maybe we haven't talked about, or maybe we have talked about.
There's so many to choose from. Especially, I'm gonna even start with this season. Uh, and we talked. A lot of people in our Discord talks about this one, but Uh, Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. That's a new one that's coming out this season that already has
Mm.
spectacular twists in it so far. It's a slice of life comedy that is hilarious. Great cast of characters. It looks great too, animation wise. But and when it comes to underrated gems, I feel like people don't talk about. That's something me and Tel could talk about for 6 hours straight. To be honest, even this other one. Sorry to
Go
go
ahead, go
again, but
ahead.
No, go
I
ahead.
talked about this on our episode. But Days with My Stepsister. I know the name sound crazy. Listen, hear me out.
Hey, listen, I had gotten through part of that episode when I heard about it. I'm like, wait a minute, this is actually good. Hold on,
Yeah,
what?
it is
So
so well written. It blew me back at how good these characters are and the characterizations of them and how mature they are and just where it's going already within the story. It's 3 episodes deep. I think these are two gems that will be um highly underrated and I think deserve a lot of love. This
I'm
season in particular.
I'm kind of surprised Polo didn't mention one, and I'm gonna throw this in there, and it's probably gonna be a little bit of a curveball because I know there's a specific group of people who would watch this. But A Sign of Affection, if you gonna sit down and you want to watch something with your girl, or you just want to have a chill, calm story where you actually have some emotional, intellectual development,
Hmm.
A Sign of Affection is a great show to watch, bro.
Yeah,
It's you don't have to worry about the stress or anything like that, but it's just a great story to watch unfold.
very wholesome.
And it's funny that you mentioned the sign of affection because I said that like I wanted to wait until the series was like, or at least the season was completed, so that way I can go ahead and binge. And I've already started episode 1, and I'm just like, oh, this is okay. We're going here. I love the way that the season starts. That first episode really like captivated me. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna see what it's talking about. And this is coming from somebody who I'm not the biggest watcher of romance anime in general, but if a story is good, and I mean if it's really good, then I will get invested. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this story is about, and I
It's
can't wait to
it's those
complete the
characters,
journey.
Yeah,
bro, and in A Sign of Affection, the
Hmm.
characters are the hook.
yeah,
It's
100%.
as soon as you get accidentally involved with those characters and how their life might turn out, you in there, you stuck.
Anything that gives us just conversation where we feel like we're talking about days of our lives or something like you know what I'm saying
Hmm.
something m- more grounded. We just have these conversations that go back and forth that like it just feels good when you find anime that makes you do that. It's an amazing feeling.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm definitely going to pay more attention, especially to with Polo helping me get into my slice of life bag
I
because there's
will.
sometimes he will put you on some good anime that you never thought that you would be watching, and here I am like, oh, okay, I actually like this shit. All right, well,
Right?
shit,
It's his fault.
some yeah, take sometimes you gotta take a break from, the action and the meathead shit and, watch something that's gonna, calm your nerves or, make you laugh or some shit.
Hmm.
Um, it's balance, as I like to call it. But
I like that balance.
yeah. I will say for me, and maybe this is not a hidden gem per se, but it's not talked about a lot, and it might be because of a marketing issue.
Mm,
And for me, it's Code Geass, Rose of the Recapture. And
mm.
and I throw that out there because we all know Lelouch's The Rebellion is one of the most talked about
Coveted
mech
series, yeah.
anime, yeah, for years. And so with Code Geass coming back, the story is a little different because it's like it takes place sort of kinda after Code Geass or Lelouch, except it's kind of like an alternate timeline where it
Mm,
takes place after a movie with Lelouch, and Lelouch doesn't die. So
mm.
we're like, okay. So I kinda had to get that in my head, like, it's not a it's a continuation of an alternate timeline of this story. So let
Interesting.
me see what it's about. But just there are still some things like when when we talk about the Japanese and how they're being subjugated and whatnot,
Yeah.
it's still, when you're a black person watching this, it can still be very triggering. like it was with 86. And y'all know how triggering 86 was. Great anime,
Spectacular show though.
spectacular anime, but yes, it's not as bad as 86 was as far as like the trigger moments, but it's still like, what do you mean by
What
that?
do you mean by that?
And so, but seeing the, I guess, how the story is playing out so far, it has been really, I guess, for me, captivating, because you get to see a new character with a not a brand new Gios, but it works in a different way.
Mhm.
And so it's like seeing that play out in real time, and then seeing her motivations and what she wants to do, and how she's going to, conquer uh Britannia again. It really just makes for a captivating story again. And I think that it's really, really not talked about again, because it's Hulu/Disney Plus.
Yep.
It does not get a lot of marketing for whatever reason. Disney does not do the marketing, and maybe it's just because Disney believes it's too big to fail at this point. But
Yep.
and it probably is, but still, it's like, at least give us something. Like, there should be no reason why I could go on these social media apps and I could see different clips or even different pictures of Crunchyroll posting anime that's been out or coming out this season, and
Mhm.
talking about that, but then I get nothing from Disney Plus and Hulu about anime that they've acquired. And it's just like, okay, when were you going to tell us that this anime just dropped? And the fact that it's actually like they're dropping it in dub on top of that, so you
Mm.
can watch it in sub or dubbed
Mm.
in real time. It's just,
Do you
and it's probably because they broke it up from the movies that they were in last year.
do
So
you
but
think
still,
it's because maybe it's because it's do you feel like maybe people think that it's a OVA or something like that because it's a Code Geass type show and it's like people didn't expect it to be more?
it may be. It may be. Again, this is it's the series that's because it was like three movies, I believe, three or four movies, and they're breaking
Mhm.
it up into episodes. So that's probably
And it
why.
was like a long time ago, right?
Last year, it dropped last year.
With the movies?
Yeah, they dropped last year,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned. Um, so it's I think that might have something to do with that.
Code
But
Geass is old too.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, it's just crazy that a lot of people who obviously in America who had not seen the movies across the water, of course,
Mhm.
and hear the episodes dropping in, and I'm sitting here like, wait, Code Geass dropped? Because I knew it was coming. It just kind of dropped out of nowhere. I didn't get a start date or anything. I was looking through any list and it was like, okay, well, this is the planned start date. But I didn't the fact that I didn't see any marketing, it just
Right.
kind of caught me by surprise when I'm scrolling through Disney Plus and here comes Code Geass just popping up. I'm like,
That
so
is
when
surprising.
Yeah.
yeah, like when were y'all gonna tell me? But okay.
And
So yeah,
I'm a little salty, bro, because I'm looking at Code Geass right here as I already had it set to watching because I thought I did, and it
mhm.
never popped up in my list. I was supposed to be watching this, so now I am a little salty. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely let me know what you think about it too. Um Again, people, we all have different opinions, and I would definitely love to share what your opinions are like regarding the show itself, because I personally like it. I'm a Kogias fan, and I just like the twist that happened. And it's not like a lot of twists or anything, but as you go through the story, you'll see again the main character's motivations and why she's doing things, and it's there are some hilarious moments, but it's still like serious, just not like Lelouch serious, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, it doesn't overdo the seriousness, but still, it's a nice story, and I think it'll do well, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
Dope.
So, with that, we've talked about the hidden gems or the underrated gems this season. Uh, are there I wanted to ask because I know that again we kind of stay off of social media because of the like hot takes and whatnot and the
Hmm.
discourse between certain anime and shit. I
Yeah.
just want to know, are there any particular hot takes about certain anime that y'all have that you haven't shared yet that
Mm.
may or may not piss somebody off? I just because I'm curious.
Well, I think one of mine already pissed somebody off on a former guest on your show. It's my undead unluck opinion. I think that show
Uh
absolutely stinks. I hate that show so much. I couldn't even finish the last episode. The last episode is still sitting here on my anime list. I just didn't even care to finish it. I'm not.
oh man.
I never cared less about characters before in my life. Undead Undead Unluck is probably one of my least favorite new shows I've ever seen, and
Oh
that's
man.
going to be the one that I'm gonna go with.
I forgot about that. Yo, T loves her some damn Undead Unluck. Me personally, I will admit I haven't finished it yet, and that might be indicative of how I feel about the series,
Exactly.
but it's not a bad series to me. It's
Ugh,
just like, do I really care?
no,
So
we don't. That's the thing.
and sorry, Scuba Steve. I know he probably gonna
I
be like
know. I
he
know.
gonna
I
come
can
on
see
this
Scuba Steve now shaking
right.
his fist at me.
He go hop back on Chaotic Culture and be like, man,
Yeah.
why y'all gotta do my series like that? Hey, bro, I'm sorry,
uh,
but yeah, I don't blame you for that at all. Like I have been trying, but it's just like I'm not motivated to go back. But it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing that I've ever seen. It's just
yeah.
like
Maybe I was being a little hyperbolic, right? It's not
yeah,
a completely terrible show. It's just I don't care about anybody in it. And
right.
I always say this when it comes to anime for me, if I don't care about none of your characters, I don't then what's your show to me?
Yeah,
It's
you're not gonna
nothing.
be invested.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all it is. It's not like that is completely shit, right? Like that's not the case. It's just I don't care. So what about you, man?
I mean, I guess I don't really think it's a hot take because I haven't really seen much about it. Suicide Squad Izakaya is not good. It's boring.
Oh yeah, and I think most people say it's bad.
I haven't
I don't even know if
even
that's a
gotten a
hot
chance
take.
to watch it. Damn, but I
It,
didn't see anybody talking about it, and nobody in my circle like even mentioned it. So I guess,
it's like they brought uh DC humor, which I already think is bad,
Mhm.
oh Lord,
to the anime world.
64% on AniList too.
we
Yeah.
talking like DC humor, like from the cartoons, or DC humor from
Not like Teen Titans humor. I mean like
like
Justice League humor.
Justice League humor?
Mm,
Like
Oh,
Martian
okay,
Man talking some random crap to Superman just because he can do it. You know what I mean? It's
yikes,
not good humor.
yikes. And because I know, like when it comes to DC humor, it can be very hit or very miss, and I still love Justice League, but watching it again, I guess as an adult versus watching it as a teen, you see it with different eyes. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? Dude, some of it is cool, and some of it's like, but
Joe
just
just
to
hate DC in
I
yeah,
general.
to
do.
hear that,
But it's like
hey,
Harley Quinn is like the only somewhat likable character, but her personality it meshes with anime well, but it's still trash for the setting. Um
mhm,
Deadshot, cool, you're Deadshot. Why put Peacemaker in it? He's not that popular. He's
Mm-mm.
popular for right now.
he's
Stop.
He
popular because
just
of John
became
Cena.
popular. Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I'm saying, bro. It's stupid.
It feels like this anime was a reach.
It
I
it
do
was
believe that.
it was a cash grab because you see how heavy they're pouring into Justice League anyway. Like they're
Yeah.
Mhm.
pouring it heavy into Justice or not Justice League, the Suicide Squad, the
Hmm.
game, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? It's not good. They need to go ahead and quit
And the thing is,
while they're
I
behind.
heard that the Suicide Squad game was not good either.
No, it's not. It fell miserably too, as
Shit, bro.
predicted.
I don't get it, yo. It just seems like anytime that they're trying to like do something with the Suicide Squad, it's like it's always a miss. Like the last
Yeah, why
Suicide
is
Squad
that?
movie wasn't that it was not bad as the first. It was tolerable,
Right.
but like that first Suicide Squad movie was like, nah, this ain't it. This is not it. But it just seems like anytime that they attempt to do something with Suicide Squad, it's just like it's not hitting the mark, and I'm just wondering why they're consistently going back to this, because isn't like the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over
Whew.
again and expecting a different result?
Cat spitting again.
They have a fan base that does really enjoy that. And it's gonna be people who know like Suicide Squad lore. And
Mm,
that's what they're banking off of, and then making merch that's just cool enough for like the younger people who are just now getting into it to like
you might be
it.
on to
And
something.
it's those of us who see through it are gonna be like, whatever, bro. But there's gonna be fans who do enjoy it, and that's why they're gonna keep pitching it.
Yeah.
The Joker got a huge uptick, right? They got Folia Do coming out soon. Joker has had several appearances in animation and in other, like what they had the what was the Gotham City show where
Mm-hmm.
they
That's
made
right.
a huge emphasis on how Joker came out. And then like Joker is what, it doesn't he have like a game in the makes other than the Suicide Squad game that came out?
I I don't know about the game, but of course we know about the Joker movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joker
the
2.
Joker movies. I know Folia Do is coming, but it's
Yeah.
like they're pouring heavy into like the Joker and Suicide Squad realm because that's what's
Hot right
grabbing
now, I guess.
attention.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I have no I have no disagreements, or I have no like personal ill will towards the Joker as a character. I just wish that they would focus on like other villains within Batman, and maybe that's just me, because I feel like I always somewhere or another we're always gonna run into the Joker one way or the other. And so it's like, okay, there are other villains that Batman had to deal with, guys.
Yeah.
Um, this is why I was a little disappointed in the Dark Knight Rises, only because like Bane is one of my favorite Batman villains,
Yes, brother.
and yeah, it's just like they were this close to getting him the way that I thought he should be, but it's like, okay, that the very end just made me like, okay, I guess, but
What a miss that was. Yeah.
yeah, very much a miss. It's still an enjoyable movie, but just a miss overall. Like this is
Hmm.
coming from a Bane, again, a Bane fanboy. Like, yo, we really treated the guy who literally broke Batman's back, pause,
Several times.
and treated him like this. Okay, guys, I get it, and I know that Joker is the pretty much the arch nemesis of Batman, but like,
Right.
can we get
You sure it wasn't
something else
Bane's
new?
knee?
Sick, sick.
It's
Bane's
sure
knee
wasn't
made definitely made
bad.
an arch.
Yeah. Hey, yo.
That's crazy.
He not lying, but damn.
I mean, y'all know y'all seen the comic strip, man.
Bro, who
You
hasn't
seen the
at this?
movie.
Bro,
Yep.
if you haven't seen that comic strip, bro, like that is brutal how
Back was
Bane
more
did
curved
this.
than a rainbow.
Shit. He ain't lying. He ain't lying. But I think for me, because we also again get daily doses of Joker in the video games. You get him in Injustice, you get him in Mortal Kombat 11, you get him in,
Mhm.
you know, I don't talk Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That game doesn't exist to me.
That was the one game I was good at.
uh, damn. Uh, we don't. We see him. And sort of, kinda in Mortal Kombat 9, or rather, we see Shang Tsung's fatalities based off
Yeah.
him. It's just we get. I think it's an oversaturation of the Joker, but
Mhm.
I personally want to see more Bane. I want to see more Mr. Freeze. I know
Yeah.
that Arnold
Scarecrow.
did what he
Oh,
did. I
Scarecrow's
definitely want to see more Scarecrow. I've probably had enough of Two Face at this point. I've seen enough of him. Um,
especially in the shows, like the
yeah.
cartoon shows.
hmm we've seen, the Riddler in this latest Batman movie, which I thought was a very, very unique take on the Riddler. So I will give that. It was, the movie was a little long, but I actually still enjoyed it, so I'll give them that. But I definitely want to see like more Batman villains and how they interact with him outside of, again, Joker, Two Face, and I'm trying to think, and Penguin. I mean, we always get Penguin,
Yeah. He's
but
so forgettable that I'll be forgetting we begin him.
yeah, for real, for
Yeah.
real. But I did not have too many uh other questions, guys, because I think that we covered just the majority of what I wanted to talk about here.
Mhm.
Um, but I did at least want to end off before we get up out of here, just on a more personal level. I guess the biggest question is, what anime actually changed your life, if there is one.
Oh yeah, this definitely one. Again, sorry for the crossover listeners. I tell this story all the time, but for me, it's 2008. Clannad.
Mad.
Clannad was a show
Yeah.
again where it was a time where I found out my mother gets MS. I'm down in Texas. Was that? Yeah, it was. I'm down in Texas, just trying to find ways to take my mind off of it. I pick up anime and I'm just watching a crap ton of it. I'm watching a lot of anime, and I watched all of Naruto. I watched all of Dragon Ball. I watched all of like the typical fisty fights and stuff. Like this is time I was just finding as many fighting anime as I possibly could just to take my mind off of life until I run out. And when I was scrolling on a site that shot, I guess it could be named now because it's debunked, but Kiss Anime. I'm scrolling down Kiss
Rest in peace.
Anime, and I see, that you remember when they used to have that hot symbol next to the anime on their list.
Mm-hmm.
Clannad, I was going down and I saw Clannad had the hot symbol. I turned it on, and when I turn it on and I'm watching it, I watched it the entire first season in one day. It was I watched the
Mm.
entire, and when I did, I felt myself. I cried in the first season, and it was the first time I've ever cried watching anything on TV. Period. And then season two happens, Clannad After Story. As I watched that, I'm bawling, crying by the end of it, and that's where I'm like, yo, if this is what anime can do to me, and any tell to tell you, I don't. There's no way I'm a craft. I'm a crier. If
Mm-hmm.
anime can make me cry like that, then I've been missing out. And it just literally changed my life completely when it comes to the way I watch anime. I try to find as many different slice of life shows as I can to invoke that emotion within me. And it's the reason why I don't enjoy shonen as much, because they don't invoke that emotion in me anymore. Like, yeah, they're entertaining for the most part. Like Demon Slayer is very entertaining. I love to be entertained still, but I want something that gives a little bit more. And Clannad was
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I seek that now. It's definitely changed my life for sure.
For sure. And I hear that story all the time, and it's just like, eventually I remember Clannad. I didn't like watch any of it because again, this is during a time period where I was like Polo, like y'all just want to watch my meathead shit.
Yeah.
But hearing when I heard that story the first time on your pod, it was just like, yo, you know what? I'm not gonna jump into Clannad immediately, but let me expand my horizons a little more. And it's not I'm at the age now where I was just like, okay, I want something a little different,
Yes.
just again, finding that balance and finding anime that I can be entertained without having to watch just strictly an action anime. Like, give me
Hmm.
something that is going to be cool to watch, and I might just, be able to relax or
Yeah.
laugh, cry, whatever the case may be. And finding those other animes to watch and expanding your palette is very, very important,
Yeah.
especially at the age that we are now, with 32, 33. So it's like,
Hmm.
yep, we gotta we're getting into adult things. I even had my one of my friends from college who just became my loctician since I moved up here. She asked like more about anime, and I told her, I'm like, well, it really just depends on what you're interested in. Like, do you
Right.
want romance? Do you want slice of life? Do you want drama? Do you want even sports anime if that's what you're
Yeah.
into?
Yeah.
It's something out there for everybody.
And you don't
And
realize it when you're just into the meathead shit, right? You
What
don't realize how
normally
deep this
shown.
so
shit can go. It goes deep. It's
yeah,
something for everybody, which I appreciate.
it really does. Tell.
Mine I feel like is a very typical answer, but it was because of where I was in life at that point. I was in college, and I was figuring out like religious stuff and with it and without it kind of person stuff in college basically.
Mhm.
And it was Full Metal Alchemist, and I learned
Mm.
about the equivalent exchange, and I was learning about a lot of stuff in art history, and it was like kind of coalescing into this like big lesson for me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
and Full Metal Alchemist just became like this game changer for me because it. I'm not gonna say it altered the way I think, but it put into exact words with equivalent
Mm.
exchange how I think.
It
Um,
was so well told.
yeah, and I know everyone loves Brotherhood more, but I do have a special place in my heart for regular Full Metal Alchemist because that is the one I watched, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the one that initially got me through to that point. Now, obviously, Brotherhood's amazing, but like I said, the original Full Metal Alchemist is what got me to that point to say, um, yeah, bro, that's my life. Like equivalent exchange is exactly what I think. It's exactly what I agree with, and exactly what I believe. Um, Without having to break it down into anything other than that.
Yeah, the way it could relate to real life is what makes Full Metal Alchemist so special. I think, like, even though it's very bombastic with its with this equivalent exchange effects, you can
Mhm.
still
Mm-hmm.
take that out from that anime and apply it to your real life
Right.
and feel and feel like equivalent exchange is a real thing.
No, that is very, very, very fair.
Hmm.
And I will go on to say that as a fan of both Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I will say that at least the ending of Full Metal Alchemist confused me to no end. So it was
Yeah.
just the one thing. It's just like, okay, this ending, like
Yeah.
what?
It's
And then I gotta
technical.
watch the movie, and I'm still lost. I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. That was still a great series. And then Brotherhood comes, and then that's when I was told, like, no, this is the actual story from the manga. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
okay. I'd hop right back in, and it's just like getting those feelings all over again. But then seeing the story actually play out, it's like, wow, this was
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, the anime that actually uh invoked some of those feelings, Paulo, now that you mention it, is Iron Blooded Orphans, Gundam.
Yeah.
I hear that a
And
lot.
yeah, so and I say that as a mech head, a mech fan, y'all know I love my Gundam, but it's rare where I get those emotions invoked in me
Hmm.
through watching certain characters and whatnot.
Mhm.
There was just certain scenes that happened in Iron Blooded Orphans that literally had my mouth drop. I'm like, no, they did not just do that.
Interesting. I might have to
And,
watch this.
yeah,
I,
it,
I like to. I would like to say that Iron Blooded Orphans is the proper way to show in this setting, though, because this is a very harsh setting.
very.
It's the perfect way to do the power of friendship, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Because it's not like this watered down, unrealistic. Just and it's an unrealistic like scenario. You know what I mean? They're in space and they're piloting giant mechs. You know what I mean? But
Right.
the story itself is just like
I just added it to my list.
it's
I
it's
gotta.
it's a beautiful story. I definitely think it might actually evoke a thug tear from Polo.
Yeah, I might have to give it
Yeah, yeah,
another
one or
shot.
two, but yeah, and it really dives deep into the psyche of child soldiers as well.
Mm,
And when you look at some of the other Gundam series, like the first Gundam series I ever watched, of course, was New Mobile Report Gundam Wing, and like with Gundam Wing being on Toonami and whatnot, obviously that's the first thing that we see, and you see like these five pilots who are actually assassins and trained to pilot these specialized mobile suits that have the advantage over everybody else and whatnot. But you kind of see like some of their missions and whatnot, but you don't really feel their emotions. Like Hero really rarely shows emotion at all.
Mhm.
yeah,
You
he was
see
a
his
robot.
yeah, he was a
I
robot. You
remember
see
that.
his ideologies change as the series progressed, because he was willing to sacrifice himself at any point in time until like the very end when he finally gets the will to live protecting the earth. It's like, oh, we finally hit that go button. Like, okay, he's found his reason to live. But you see how like all five of them pretty much like come from different backgrounds, but they are not really, they're trained assassins pretty much. Again, they're not you don't get like the full details of what got them to that point, or
Right.
what they went through to you know change their psyche or develop their psyche and whatnot. But with Iron Blooded Orphans, you see them come up as like child soldiers, and you see the pain that they go through and the toil that they're trying to go through just to create a life of their own, and how they have to fight these different organizations, and how greed really does play like a strong part in tearing them down. And just, it's really like, yo. And then some of your favorite characters, the fact that they just get packed up and you like, damn,
I'm gonna be
like
honest.
you.
I'm gonna be honest. That the series, the Gundam series you were just talking about before, Iron Blood Orphans. I think that's the reason why I didn't like mech anime. I hated that series so much. It was so bad to me because of Hero and his roboticness throughout the series. And when it used to come on at night, I used to be like, "Ugh, please turn this off."
It's crazy because Hero was actually my least favorite character, but he had my favorite Gundam.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, I loved Wing Zero, like especially Wing Zero Custom with the angel wings and endless bolts. Like I loved that shit. My favorite pilot was actually Duo. Because he just had like the most character out of all of them. He just seemed to always, the way that he talked about being the god of death, and just always like
Oh
hopping
yeah,
into battle,
exactly.
smiling and shit, and just having these conversations, and then, finding out, of course, he's an orphan and whatnot. But it still was, he was my favorite pilot out of all of them. But
Uh,
Hero had my favorite mobile suit. It's just
And
you
like,
ever
damn it.
am I the
you
only
ever
one who like Mobile Fighter G Gundam?
Oh, I love G
The
Gundam
Domo
for different reasons though.
Burning Gundam? Go
Yes.
ahead, Polo.
I was just gonna
And
ask if you ever seen All Noah Zero.
I have seen All Noah Zero. I actually want to rewatch it because it's been such a long time since I've watched it. But I love All Noah Zero.
That was the first one I got into after I said I was gonna never watch a mech show. That was the first
Hmm.
one I got into where I was like, okay, this is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
it
86
was.
pulled up to the house and was like, "Yeah, watch me."
Yeah.
Nah, and 86. So sometimes I forget it's a mech anime, but it's like, yo, no, it's mech, but it's the themes
It's
in that
different.
show are crazy. But
Mm.
yeah, I loved All Noah Zero, and I'm actually gonna do a rewatch just to make sure, because I loved everything about it. And I'm trying to remember, it was it was random when I first watched it. It was sometime like just after I got my master's degree is when I like started watching it. So this is
Mm.
like back in 2015. So it's you could tell that it's been a minute for me, but I definitely loved that series.
It's a good one.
So yeah, when it comes to like mech anime, I did not expect to like I did not expect IBO to invoke those emotions the way that it did. And I knew that there were some like Gundam series out there that did, like Victory Gundam. That is a whole bunch of sadness, like
Mm.
a whole bunch of trauma and sadness. But I stayed away from that because I was like, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to see, big shooty robots fight big shooty robots without any trauma. And then I watched IBO, and it's like, oh shit, I'm missing out on a whole lot of character development and plot.
Mm.
Like, damn,
Dealing
okay,
with the
well, maybe I
heartbreak.
need, yeah, maybe I need to like watch these sadder Gundam series. And then that actually inspired me to go back and like start from the beginning and watch like the Universal Century Gundam. So the uh I did Mobile Suit Gundam, I did Z Gundam, Double Z Gundam, which I don't recommend that you watch. Charles Counterattack, Unicorn. I even went back to during the 100 anime challenge back in 2021. I even watched the the series of Mobile Suit Gundam where we first get to see how Char became Char.
Mm.
So yeah, it's you see more of the characterizations in like in the different series of Gundam and whatnot, but still IBO was the one that made me realize there's more to it than just,
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely
hands.
watch it.
Yeah. it's I definitely recommend it. Uh so I think, gentlemen, that's really all the time that we have, because I know that for me it's getting late and I got a flight to catch.
True.
Right.
But I'm gonna be pulling up in Polo's area. Uh,
Hey.
and for those who are listening, this will obviously be afterwards. But yeah, obviously I'm gonna be attending DreamCon, and this will probably be the last year that I go for a while, anyway, because a little bit of DreamCon burnout, not con burnout, just DreamCon specifically. But,
Mm.
but still, want to go get out of the state a little bit and hang with friends and enjoy some good vibes and do a panel. But with with that in mind, I just want to ask, like, did you two gentlemen have any closing thoughts, or are there any particular people or any businesses that you want to shout out that are like black owned?
Um, I'm gonna just, I'm to be honest, man. I'm gonna just shout out you and this podcast. This podcast is fantastic. You've been supporting us for so long. We can't thank you enough for the support you've given us and just listening and being a producer of our show. It's been a great help to us, and we're thankful to have you as a friend in this podcasting space. So I'm gonna give you the shout out and say we appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey man, that goes a long way, and I definitely appreciate that.
Hmm.
And the feeling is definitely mutual, man. Y'all made me like really like open my eyes, and just listening to y'all like every Tuesday that I get the chance. It's like, yo, y'all come up with some dope topics, some y'all
We
really
appreciate
watch
that.
some dope anime, and it's just like, yo, I gotta lock in. And once I locked in, it was just a matter of time before I actually got a chance to do the space with y'all.
And
And go
since we,
ahead, Polo.
I was just gonna say we plan on bringing you on as soon as we can too,
Yeah.
if you
Hey,
got the time.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm gonna find the time one way or the other.
And
Listen,
that's exactly what I was gonna say, because we don't pop out or come out often.
Yeah,
right.
But we did want to make sure that we got to spend this time, talking about some some overall cool stuff with our bro. So
hmm
I would like to just say thank you for the invitation.
hmm
And thank you for having us on, because this was a nice experience, bro.
great time.
Hey, I appreciate the both of you for real, man. And Polo, I am gonna be in Austin, so I don't know if will have time to pull up, or I might just pull up to you real quick and just pat it up before like the shenanigans begin and whatnot. But I've already met Tell, and for those who haven't heard that story, I met Tell by accident. It was one of those things where
Yeah,
like we were actually planning to meet, but just the meeting itself was an accident.
That's dope.
So yeah, it was crazy. Like going to Houston, and I'm like sitting here hitting up to like, yo, where you at? Where you at? And whatnot, like what's going on? And I happen to be at the same mall that he is, and at the same restaurant. And I turn around, I'm like, that
That's
looks like Tell,
it
but
was
crazy.
dope. It was dope.
I'm like, I'm not sure. So then I had to come up to him and like and ask if he was, and this is like, yo, wow,
That is the
crazy how that
greatest
happened.
story ever.
Yeah.
Hey, that was also another appreciated thing. My wife loved that actor. She was like, "Yo, he's so nice." And my wife don't like nobody, if I'm being real.
Oh man,
She like Polo
thank
with
you,
like two other
Monique.
people. So it was like this was
Yeah,
this was great.
I
I,
take
I,
that as a step of approval from Monique. Thank you, thank you. I do try my best to spread kindness everywhere I go.
I'm getting over the flu though, man, and I know because I wanted to meet up with you and Rob this weekend, or at least try to. But
Ooh,
I'm getting over the flu right now, so I'm gonna try to see if how I'm feeling this weekend. But I ain't trying to get nobody what I got.
nah, for real, for real. If you ain't feeling better by the time Sunday rolls around, bro,
Right?
then we'll find another time.
Yeah,
It
for
is what
sure.
it is. But all right, gentlemen. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, how I always end this podcast is by doing the rundown. And for those who are not familiar with the rundown, of course, it is pretty much a list of podcasts and business owners, content creators, and artists who have either supported this podcast or been a part of this podcast in some form or fashion. So naturally, of course, the first people we shout out is Shogo High and Inside the Mind of a Blurred. Those are the other two podcasts that I'm a part of. Check out Inside the Mind of a Blurred's panel that's going on at DreamCon. This episode will probably drop the Friday of DreamCon. I usually drop Tuesdays, but it's a special episode. I got my brothers with me, so I gotta drop this soon. That's how
Mhm.
I'm looking at it as. But definitely, once again, shout out to Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Again, I am a Patreon producer of this podcast, and y'all already know that if you need your seasonal anime, if you want to learn more, definitely check out these two brothers right here. Like I kid you not, you will have a time, and they will put you on to some great shows. Of course, Worst Generation Podcast and Blanime Podcast, formerly known as Anime After Dark. Big shout out to them. Truth and Transparency Podcast with Brother X, the culture scientist, and Mr. Smith. Big shout out to It's So Real with Raquel and Onaji. Dad Needs to Talk with Rob, the father of Vash. Analytical where shit gets critical. Geek Set Podcast. Anime Junkies, Three Weaves in a podcast. Those Anime Girls. And shout out to my boy uh with the commute. I can't believe I almost forgot the name of that damn podcast. My bad, Jay Mills. My bad. But yeah, shout out to y'all. For our Black content creators, of course, Off Black Mag with Aaron, HBCU Anime with Evan. Big shout out to Sundari. I know that she's taking a break. Definitely shout out to Cerberus Entertainment, Tatted Poodle, the Geechee Gamer, Icarus Metro Comics with my boy Calvin. We got to have him back on here as well. Shout out to the gang Hub Taku, Shelby with Simply Janine, Simply Baked, and Rose Less Traveled, Strange Keith with Items to Icons, Toasty Marshmallow, and of course the Corner Five. That includes Simone by Simone Malcolm, Courtney with None of My Friends Watch Anime, Chris Madarame, Sham with One Punch Sham, and I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, and Fi. I don't know why her name's not on this list here, but Fi will fight for Rage. And then, of course, shout out to my boy and co-host Scuba Steve and Alpha with Birdmont Productions. For our black artists, big shout out to NASA, Scoozy, Jack Union, Phil.me, Ellis Quinn, RJ Stackhouse, Quarter, Tyrone Leak Jr., who provides the intro to this podcast, Ariel Show, Zach Hines and Fortresses, Elena, Zaynab, and Imogen. And then for our black businesses already paid by Dre, Fresheners, Righteous Minds by Timo, Cases Brand by Christina, Cream Cosmetics by Naima, Mind Over Money by Mr. Main, Studio Maho by Pat and Yin. Please be sure that you also check out their panel as well. Concept Moon, She Designs Too with Aaron, Black Magic and slash Lit Wands with Low and T, H4 created by Zenobia, Real Estate Stone by Meredith, Soul by Bell by Mariah, Good Vibes Only again by my
Yes.
other co-host Nasa, and Scrappy Sentiment by Sappy. So with that, gentlemen, how can the people follow you?
I'm at Polo Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Taliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else.
Y'all heard it here first. Be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast on your favorite digital streaming platform. Be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon as well for early access to the podcast and bonus episodes. You can subscribe at any of the four levels listed. Either way, we still appreciate your support. You can follow Chaotic Culture Podcast on Facebook. You can also follow us on IG at Chaotic Culture Pod and follow us on X/Twitter at Chaotic Culture One. Since they packed up the old page, I'm still upset about that, but that's
Oh,
from the
still hurts.
yeah, still hurts. You can follow me, Ked the Pro. That's K3D the Pro on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa at I'm the Casa on all social media. You can follow my boy Law on IG at L.JR_96 and on Twitter at Law96 underscore. I'm hoping that boot camp isn't beating his behind too much, but shout out to my boy becoming a Navy officer. You can follow Sappy at Scraps14 on all social media. You can follow Johnny at J Lee Trey on all social media. And of course, you can follow Scuba Steve at Scuba Steve1428 on all social media. And this has been another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. So until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture, chaos rules, be blessed, be safe, God is love, and we are out of here.
Peace.
Deuces.